Tralles comet. Humboldt says it is probable that the vapor of the tails of comets mingled with our atmosphere in the years 1819 and 1823. There is reason to believe that the present generation has passed through the gaseous prolongation of a comet's tail, and that hundreds of human beings lost their lives, somewhat as they perished in the age of fire and gravel, burned up and poisoned by its exhalations. And although this catastrophe was upon an infinitely smaller scale than that of the old time, still it may throw some light upon the great cataclysm. At least it is a curious story, with some marvelous features on the 27th day of February, 1826, to begin as M. Dumas would commence one of his novels. M. Biela, an Austrian officer, residing at Josephstadt, in Bohemia, discovered a comet in the constellation Aries, which, at that time, was seen as a small round speck of filmy cloud. Its course was watched during the following month by M. Gambart at Marseilles and by M. Clausen at Altona, and those observers assigned to it an elliptical orbit with a period of 6 years and 3/4 for its revolution. De Morzeau subsequently calculated its path and announced that on its next return the comet would cross the orbit of the Earth within 20,000 miles of its track, and but about 1 month before the Earth would have arrived at the same spot. This was shooting close to the bull's eye. He estimated that it would lose nearly 10 days on its return trip through the retarding influence of Jupiter and Saturn, but if it lost 40 days instead of 10, what then? But the comet came up to time in 1832, and the Earth missed it by 1 month. And it returned in like fashion in 1839 and 1846. But here a surprising thing occurred. Its proximity to the Earth had split it in two. Each half had a head and tail of its own. Each had set up a separate government for itself, and they were whirling through space, side by side, like a couple of racehorses, about 16,000 miles apart, or about twice as wide apart as the diameter of the Earth. Here is a picture of them, drawn from life. Biela's comet, split in two, from Guillemot's The Heavens. In 1852, 1859, and 1866, the comet should have returned, but it did not. It was lost. It was dissipated. Its material was banging around the Earth in fragments somewhere. I quote from a writer in a recent issue of the Edinburgh Review. The puzzled astronomers were left in a state of tantalizing uncertainty as to what had become of it. At the beginning of the year 1866, this feeling of bewilderment gained expression in the annual report of the Council of the Royal Astronomical Society. The matter continued, nevertheless, in the same state of provoking uncertainty for another 6 years. The third period of the perihelion passage had then passed, and nothing had been seen of the missing luminary. But on the night of November 27, 1872, night watchers were startled by a sudden and a very magnificent display of falling stars or meteors, of which there had been no previous forecast, and Professor Klinkerflues of Berlin, having carefully noted the common radiant point in space from which this star shower was discharged into the Earth's atmosphere, with the intuition of ready genius, jumped at once to the startling inference that here at last were traces of the missing luminary. There were 80 of the meteors that furnished a good position for the radiant point of the discharge, and that position, strange to say, was very much the same as the position in space which Biela's comet should have occupied just about that time on its fourth return toward perihelion. Klinkerflues, therefore, taking this spot as one point in the path of the comet, and carrying the path on as a track into forward space, fixed the direction there through which it should pass as a vanishing point at the other side of the starry sphere. And having satisfied himself of that further position, he sent off a telegram to the other side of the world, where alone it could be seen, that is to say, to Mr. Pogson of the Madras Observatory, which may be best told in his own nervous and simple words. Herr Klinkerflues' telegram to Mr. Pogson of Madras was to the following effect: November 30th, Biela touched the Earth on the 27th of November. Search for him near Theta Centauri. Thanks for enjoying this video on Adamudu. If you had a good time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more awesome content. Your support means a lot, and we can't wait to see you in the next video.